You just finished Severance and it blew your mind. But you're making a huge mistake if your next move is to cancel Apple TV Plus. There are 3 brand new Apple originals flying under the radar right now, and each one might be even better than what brought you to Apple TV in the first place. Apple might not have the biggest library, but what it does have right now is range. A sharp comedy that punches at Hollywood, a slick thriller hiding secrets behind the front doors of the biggest mansions in the neighborhood, and a high-stakes crime story that kicks off with one very bad decision. Let's break them down, starting with Your Friends and Neighbors. This one's sneaky, literally. Jon Hamm, who you probably know from Mad Men back in the day, plays a former hedge fund manager who's just lost everything.
I gotta deliver some bad news. You're fired.
What?
His job, his marriage, his status. So what's his plan to hold it all together? He starts robbing his ultra wealthy neighbors at night. Yeah, he throws on a hoodie, sneaks into the mansions down the block, and starts lifting watches and secrets. Now at first it feels like a weird side hustle, but every break-in reveals something darker, whether it's affairs or blackmail, or even bigger crimes brewing behind those closed doors. The more he steals, the deeper he gets tangled in everyone else's mess. Now what really sells this one for me is the tone, because it's part thriller and part dark comedy. There's a lot of laughing going on. It's Desperate Housewives energy meets Breaking Bad choices, and know it sounds weird, but somehow this just works.
Now, I attended a panel given by Apple TV Plus to learn more about the production of this show. And what's interesting is the portrayal of wealth in the Westchester community was a key consideration with an emphasis on aspirational wealth. And the goal was to depict the tension between characters' income levels and aspirations, contributing to the whole story's chaos. There were discussions about portraying income levels and wealth with a focus on not overplaying those things, and even the community where they shot the show was considered a character in and of itself.
We talked a lot about how we're portraying the income levels of wealth, and we found it really important to not overplay that hand and to show that the tension between all these different characters and their income level and their wealth and their aspiration really plays into the sort of, nature of the story and the kind of chaos that Jon finds himself in.
Hamm's character obviously is making terrible decisions, but he's still magnetic and you can't look away. And everyone around him is complicated or shady or just way more involved than they let on. So if you're into mystery with some bite, something that makes you laugh and makes you lean in at the same time, Your Friends and Neighbors is one to lock in. All right, moving on from executive meltdowns, here's something a little more chill that's actually kept me on track lately. Let me tell you about this water bottle I've been using. This is the Lark Pure Viz 2, and they're the sponsor of this video. And this isn't just a water bottle, it's fully smart with a bunch of tech packed in. There's a UVC LED light built right into this lid that activates automatically every 2 hours to clean the inside of the bottle and the water in it, eliminating bacteria. There's also a built-in Nano Zero filter, which knocks out chlorine, PFAs, and microplastics. Plus, this tracks your hydration. The Lark app gives you reminders throughout the day, as does this ring on top of the lid. It'll blink to remind you to stay hydrated. And everything syncs with the Apple Health app as well, so your water intake is automatically logged. Now, as a water bottle, it's double wall insulated, so it keeps water cold all day. And you only need to charge it every 2 to 3 weeks over the USB-C connection. It's clean design, smart features, and it's just way better than whatever water bottle you're using right now. Hit the link down in the description to check it out for yourself. And once again, big thank you to Lark for sponsoring this video. Okay, you've seen what's hiding behind the front doors of suburbia. This next one flips the tone and the pace, bringing us straight into Hollywood chaos. It's called The Studio, and this one is a mess in the best way possible. This show is a fast-talking Hollywood satire where everything that can go wrong does go wrong, with Seth Rogen playing a guy who just landed his dream job.
It's gonna be perfect.
Running a major movie studio. And from day one, it is total chaos. Now, I know people who work in the entertainment and movie industry, and what they tell me about this show is that it is dead on. Some things are obviously exaggerated for the screen and for laughter, but everyone who I know in this industry could see themselves in this show just doing their normal job. So every episode starts with a small problem, and by the end, the entire studio is on fire, sometimes literally. But there's also a key flex. Every episode includes a long, high-stress sequence filmed as a single take with no cuts. Just the camera weaving through an unraveling disaster in real time. These shots are called oneers. And one episode even takes it further where the entire episode is shot entirely from start to finish as a oneer with just one camera shot the entire time. Again, no cuts. It's immersive, ridiculous, and totally works.
And the attention to detail is next level. At a recent Apple TV event, I listened to the creative team behind the studio explain how they built the show's world from the ground up. The production design draws from 1920s movie studios and Mayan revival architecture, which is heavy, angular, with texture spaces that feel both grand and crumbly. The costume design makes a sharp visual distinction between the insiders of the studio and the outsiders. Hair and makeup were layered on top of that foundation, all riffing off the set and costume work. And it all adds up to a world that looks chaotic and funny on the surface, but if you watch closely, every thread ties back into that bigger satirical picture.
Now, what makes it land is how self-aware it is. Again, like I told you, people I know in the industry say, this is how it is. It's poking fun at Hollywood, poking fun at itself, the egos, the panic, the bad decisions, but it also feels like a love letter to the chaos behind the camera. The jokes hit, the pacing is tight, and you end up caring about these train wreck characters way more than you expected to. I like shows that are sharp and quick-witted with just the right amount of unhinged, and you can think of the studio as Apple TV's answer to Veep, but with more tracking shots and more explosions. All right, now let's talk about a fake DEA raid that goes very, very wrong. The show is Dope Thief, and this one comes out swinging. You've got these two small-time hustlers in Philly, and they come up with what seems like a flawless scam. You pretend to be DEA agents, you raid drug dealers, and you walk away with the cash because no one's gonna call the cops. So the idea is bold and it's fast, and at first it actually works until they hit the wrong stash house. What they thought was an easy score turns out to be cartel connected and under real DEA surveillance. So basically one bad raid and suddenly they've got the feds on one side, a violent drug network on the other, and seemingly no way out. That is the setup. But what makes Dope Thief hit is the execution. Brian Tyler Henry and Wagner Moura are amazing. They're electric. Think high stakes, high stress, and surprisingly funny. And I guess that's a theme between all three of the shows I've been talking about today. Like, they all have a seriousness to them while also maintaining laughter to different degrees, of course. The chemistry on screen between these two guys brings this gritty crime story to life. One minute they're dodging bullets in an alley, and the next they're arguing over snacks in a getaway car. And it looks incredible too. Ridley Scott is an executive producer, and you can feel the cinematic edge to the show. There's moody lighting, tight action, real energy, and the whole thing feels very premium. And it's not trying to reinvent this genre, it just does it really well. So if you're into thrillers with big tension, sharp writing, and characters that actually matter, this one is a ride. And once it starts, it doesn't slow down. So yeah, Severance may be done for now, and we're all lamenting the fact that we have to wait for season 3. Hopefully not 3 years like the wait between seasons 1 and 2. Ben Stiller promised us that wouldn't be the case. Fingers crossed that that holds true. But in the meantime, if that's all you're watching on Apple TV Plus, you are missing out. I just covered 3 brand new shows worth your time, but Apple's already stacked with a bunch of heat. You've got Silo, you've got Shrinking, you've got Slow Horses, and for one that doesn't start with an S, you've got Presumed Innocent. If you haven't seen those yet, that subscription's about to pull its weight. If you end up watching any of these, let me know what you think and if any of them hooked you. Drop a comment down below and I'll meet you there for further discussion. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andru Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.